On the Healthy Human Revolution podcast, Dr. Lori Marbas interviews nutrition and lifestyle medicine experts and extraordinary guests whose informative and inspiring stories will empower you with the knowledge to transform your life and health.
Welcome to the podcast. I'm Dr. Lori Marbas, and I am so excited to welcome one of the plant-based telehealth doctors, Dr. Kim Sheuer. How are you today?
I'm doing wonderfully. How are you?
Good. And this is going to be an amazing podcast to learn all about you and your special, unique talents that I have yet to meet anyone who has, which is super exciting. And so let's talk, first of all, tell us about Dr. Kim and why she wanted to become a doctor. Where did this start?
Sure. So I started wanting to become a doctor at a very young age. My father was a physician and I thought he did the coolest stuff. I love blood and guts and I love helping people. And I love learning. So that's when I started. But I actually wanted to play before I became a doctor because I knew that would be the end of my line kind of thing. So I went to college. I needed an easy A. I took American Sign Language and got my A. Got fully involved with the deaf community for 2 years where I had only deaf friends, and I got my master's in deaf education. Then I wanted to play some more. So I went overseas to Sri Lanka in the Peace Corps and was supposed to teach the deaf people their sign language, American Sign Language. And I went to the school with deaf kids and I didn't understand a word they were saying. Like they would be signing me like, you know, this is not a sign in American Sign Language. They was like, who are you? Where are you from? What's your name? And they would go, what's your name? And I'd be like, my name? Are you asking my name? And they're like, oh, your name. I'm like, no, I'm not name. I'm Kim.
So just for those who are just listening, Kim is signing as she's speaking, which is really cool to watch. But anyway, please go ahead.
I'll try not to do that too much because it's awesome. But I loved my life with the deaf community. I went to medical school in Rochester, New York, because they have a deaf community. And so I used my sign language there. I moved from there to California for residency and had a great residency at Ventura. Used sign language there a little bit, used some Sinhala, which is the language from Sri Lanka there. And then I went to Aspen, Colorado, and there I used my sign language at the deaf camp that they had there a long time ago. And so I was able to combine it a lot. And I hope to do more, with the video, with telehealth.
Right.
Because the deaf community needs to learn this information just the same as the hearing community.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Wow. That is so cool.
Yeah.
It's just fun watching you. It's like you're conducting words. It's just really cool to watch.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. I wish I remembered my Sri Lankan sign language. It's very different. Like it's cultural, it's everything, like it's different. In America, tree is tree. And you would think something that's one solid thing would be the same thing. But tree in Sri Lanka is gasa. So it's totally different. And I love
But you can see that though, but you can see where you see the tree with your hand basically on your elbow, do this versus the growing tree.
Right.
But that's interesting because when you look at the study of language, just my very minimal amount of understanding, Indian words, I read the book, The Sweet Braid it's here somewhere. Anyway, it's a really interesting book, but it was about Indian culture, and I have Indian heritage myself in my own family. Cool. I think that's where that strong jawline comes from. But anyway, they talk about the language is flowing, right? So you wouldn't just say river, but it speaks about like flowing waters. Yeah. So that kind of reminds me of like that motion of growth, a similar idea.
Yeah. And I mean, so everything was very different there, like mother and father in American Sign Language. Mother is down on the chin and father there is amma and tata there. So it's completely different.
You could see this. This is the breast formation.
The mustache.
And the mustache. Oh, how so fascinating.
So, I mean, I would get into trouble. It was so much fun. Yeah.
Oh, I can only imagine. Oh my gosh. So how long were you in the Peace Corps?
2 years. It was amazing.
Wow.
And so I traveled around after that and went to Thailand, learned a little bit of Thai sign language. Went to, I've had so much fun because I was one of the few people who in the world who can do American Sign Language, Sri Lankan Sign Language, Sinhala, and English. I also speak Spanish too. But so I would be interpreting for one summer. I was working in South America in Chile, but that was after I was in Japan interpreting for the Sri Lankan delegation of the deaf. So I was speaking and signing Sinhalese, got on a plane, went down to Santiago and started speaking in Spanish. And I was so messed up. And that was from America. So
Plus the time zones, that alone
Oh,
would be enough.
I was a mess. Oh yeah. And I had forgotten that it was South, so that it was not summer there. And I was totally unprepared. But
Oh my gosh. I was in the Air
yeah.
Force and I went to Ecuador for a humanitarian trip.
Uh-huh.
And of course, obviously, I speak a little Spanish, but not obviously even conversational, nothing that I would write home about. But we used some Peace Corps volunteers to interpret for us, and actually became very good friends with the one that was attached to me. But it was funny because we sat down and we'd go deep into the Andes Mountains with the Ecuadorian army. They would drive us there and we'd do these huge, like 800 people in a day, crazy amount of work. Anyway, it was so amazing. But I had this, there's Quechan, right? So you have Spanish, but then you have like another dialect, it's Quechan. And so my volunteer, she could actually translate the Spanish to English, but then we had to have someone go from Quechan to Spanish. And so we did have that. And so one lady came in with a complaint, but she kept pointing to her stomach. But by the time it got to English, it came out to, when the moon is out, my breast begins to smoke. And I was like, I'm not sure what's going on. I'm thinking at night she has heartburn. And I was like, trying to actually doing more of those kind of pointing and asking more other specific questions. I was like, oh my goodness. So I have such respect for anybody who can speak multiple languages, because my brain doesn't compute as well. So that's fantastic. So you speak Spanish as well. So our patients need to know that, come see us on Plant-Based Telehealth. If you need a Spanish speaking doc, we've got Dr. Kim Sheuer, and we have Dr. Jeff Pierce, who also speaks Spanish. So we are bilingual and trilingual with you and your language skills. Amazing. And I'm just so in awe. I'm just in awe of anybody.
So much fun. I love learning languages. I wish I could retain them, but
I think, well, that's just gonna have to be, you have to be kind of submerged into it, right?
And when I came back from Sri Lanka, it was I was interpreting for the deaf in New York City, and I was interpreting a chemistry class or something like that. I can't remember. It was a science class. And I would say like XY, and they'd be like, what? And I'm like, oh, XY, sorry, wrong language. Or box. They're like, no, box. I mean, I was like missing out, but.
It's like the little kids that you have like bilingual parents, and they only speak to them in one language and they hear English somewhere else, and then they're mixing both languages.
Yep.
Like,
wait, we all learn more language. No, I know, right?
Exactly. My husband's Filipino, and he always wished that he would have taken. He was a firstborn American here in his family, well, first generation American, and he really wishes he'd have taken the time to really learn. Tagalog.
Was he Tagalog? Yeah.
Yes, Tagalog. And because now, we missed out on teaching our kids that as well. And so, but he's been really working on trying to learn his native language. He speaks to his mom in Tagalog as much as he can.
Nice.
So, yeah, it was really fun. But anyway, oh my goodness, that was cool. That's really awesome, Kim. So you want to be a doctor. Your dad was a doctor, which is really awesome.
Right.
And I love it when you said you love blood and guts. It's like only doctors say these things. Nurses, doctors. We're a special breed of individual.
We talk about poop a lot. Peace Corps volunteers and docs talk about poop a lot.
I have a cup that has the bristle.
I have it. Oh, I don't have it down here. I do too. It's
all because of one of my patients.
Yeah.
The bristle
scale. Yeah.
And it's funny because the reason I got that was because one of my patients on plant-based telehealth, and she knows I tell the story all the time. She said it was okay. We talked about her. She's a 4-year-old. Well, he's 5 now, and a 7-year-old. and we were talking, they had switched over to plant-based diet and they kept talking about poop. And I told her about that chart. And the next visit I had, she goes, Dr. Marvis, look at my coffee mug. I was like, oh, there's a coffee mug with this on here. So I had to order it. Anyway, but now we fight about it in the house. Like, who gets to drink out of the poop cup?
Well, I think I ordered it because I heard you tell that story.
Oh, well, there you go.
There you go.
There you go.
You can tell your patient she has influenced the world.
Oh my gosh, she's amazing. And there's actually a poop chart in their bathroom, and the little one tells his mom what type of poop quality. He goes, Mom, I'm pooping a 6. Is this a problem?
Yeah.
It's like, I was like, future gastroenterologist in the
Absolutely.
making.
Absolutely. Oh, so
Oh
much
my
fun.
gosh. Oh, what a
Yay.
blast. So tell us
I
about
went-
your time in, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, tell us more about your time in Aspen, because that's where we met.
Oh.
And I know you've been there a long time, and
Yeah.
you're now in another place in Colorado, but share, please.
So I, once I got out of medical school, I went to residency in California, but I missed my 4 seasons. I love 4 seasons, and I missed my mountains. And California was a great place for residency. I had the best residency in the world. And it was great when you're working 120 hours a week to come out into sunshine all the time. But it was time to move on. And I had wanted to live in a small town in Colorado and never thought I'd be lucky enough to get to Aspen, but I was heading to a interview in Durango and flipped a car and went skiing instead and ended up in.
You flipped a car? What?
Yeah.
No,
But
that you just
it's
don't, you
fun.
don't just say I flipped a car.
Yeah, you don't go with a rear-wheel drive truck to Colorado from California and not know what you're doing. Now I know how to drive Colorado
Oh.
roads. But so I missed my interview in Durango and decided to go skiing instead, and ended up after a little while in Aspen, Colorado, which is just, I miss my Aspen peeps. I missed the place. It was a gorgeous, gorgeous place to live. Wonderful people. I was there for over 20 years. I worked as I'm a family practice. And so I was in a practice that I helped start, and became one of the biggest practices in Aspen. I was a hospitalist. I was chief of medicine at the hospital. I was chief of a bunch of things. I worked hard, but it was great. But it was time for me to move on. I had already gotten frustrated with traditional family practice and just band-aiding illnesses. And, somebody would come in with diabetes and I'd give them some, meds, but I wouldn't get to the root cause. And then when I was 47, I decided I didn't want to have breast cancer that my mom had at 48. So I started figuring out how I could prevent breast cancer and fell into lifestyle medicine and plant-based medicine. And I was just like, why has nobody told me about this? What is going on? So for the next many, many years, I started learning about lifestyle medicine, plant-based medicine. I did it on myself first. I started to eat healthier, as a person who was as I describe myself as a Milky Way vegetarian. I ate a lot of crap food. I ate a lot of processed foods. I ate a lot of cheeses. I was a cheeseaholic, dairyaholic, and cheese pizza with veggies I thought was healthy, and it wasn't. And so I would do that. When I found out about plant-based medicine, I went from being plant-based to from an unhealthy vegetarian to a plant-based diet overnight. For the first month, I had a friend of mine helping me. She gave me a smoothie every morning. So because I'd never liked any green stuff, I'd never eaten salads, I couldn't eat anything green. So she would make me a smoothie every day. And I would drink that. And after the month, I had lost weight, my cholesterol plummeted, and I was normal cholesterol when I started, but it plummeted. My energy got huge. I have struggled with my weight all my life, and I could eat. And once this happened, I ate all the time and was losing weight easily and had much more energy. My brain was clear. I was so much more alive. My aches, my knees, I've had surgeries on both of my knees. First one when I was 17.
Wow.
18. Yeah, a ski accident. I was a ski jumper, and so I have had terrible knees, and all of a sudden my aches and pains went away.
Wow.
My arthritis, it was great. I was like,
Wait.
oh, I'm not.
You're a ski jumper, like off the really big long things?
When I was young. No, not that. I was more of, I used to love to do the moguls and jump and do tricks on the
Oh
moguls and
my
things.
gosh. It's just you
Yeah.
just never cease to amaze me. You're a woman of many talents. Okay, keep going. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I had blown out my first knee, young, and I was told that I was not enough of an athlete to get it fixed. But after,
What?
year, yeah, it was a long, long, long time ago. Women weren't athletes. Women weren't, it was a long time ago. After 3 years of blowing it out in Taekwondo, in ultimate frisbee, and Aikido, and all my things, they finally said, "Okay, you can have your surgery." And but anyways, um, so just everything changed in my life. Then I started using with my patients, and everything started changing in their lives. Like they would come back healthier and get rid of medicines and get rid of stuff. I was just like, why didn't I know this before? I
Mm,
don't understand. And I was so pissed off because I realized that Dean Ornish had published, I think it was in the Lancet, or I can't remember what he had
Yes, the
published in
Lancet, early 1990s.
yeah, when I was in medical school. Like, are
Yeah.
you kidding me? Why didn't I hear about this?
Yeah.
So I started to want to transition more to lifestyle medicine. Got boarded in lifestyle medicine, started my own practice that way. Because in my office, unless I was lucky, it was really, really hard to spend the time I needed with patients. Like I had one patient who came in at the end of the day and she told me I could tell her story. She came in, um, second to last patient. My last patient had canceled. It was the first time I saw her. She had been diabetic, insulin dependent for 9 months. Started with, found out she was diabetic with a huge, she was in the hospital for 10 days with ketoacidosis. She
Wow.
was just a
Wow.
mess. And so I just had the time to talk to her. And in 1 hour, I got her totally turned around. She didn't believe me. She left saying, I don't believe you, but I'm going to try this. And within 10 days, she was off of her insulin.
Hmm.
She was thrilled, had sent her mom the information that I told her to do. Her mom was starting to get off of insulin. Her mom,
Wow.
I mean, and it was just, this is what I want to do. And so I
Mm.
started my own lifestyle medicine practice with the idea of it being portable because my boyfriend, my significant other, had been hit by a car and had been pretty much almost dead. We had
Wow.
brought him back to life, got him on plant-based medicine, got him healthier, and we wanted to move to an area where we had more land and farming so he could be outside doing physical therapy in nature. And that's what we're doing. And it's been
Mm.
fantastic for him, a good move for me. And I love living the lifestyle I finally told my patients to live,
Oh, that's amazing. And now you're on plant-based telehealth.
because I want to
What?
spread this. I mean,
Yes.
it made such a difference in my
Yes.
life, in my patients' lives. And I want to make sure it makes a difference in everyone's life. So,
Oh,
yeah, if
that's
I can
awesome.
make this happen. I mean, we happened to moved right when COVID hit and changed everything, not because of COVID, but that was just the timing that we were able to do it. And so telehealth is what a perfect way to help others. And
Mm.
so, yeah, I'm thrilled to have joined you guys. Thrilled.
Yes. Well, we're thrilled to have you and your experience and your knowledge and just your enthusiasm because honestly, you're one of the most like exciting people. And you, okay, but we also got to get to this. You're like
Okay.
the Energizer Bunny. All right. Because I know you have a nickname that they called you in Aspen.
The
Um,
Taz. I'm the
yeah,
Taz, the Tasmanian Devil.
and if anyone ever watched like the old cartoons, like the Tasmanian Devil, yeah, yes, for sure. So when I think we were first talking at length, and you were telling me about, hiking up mountains and, in the middle of the night and thinking it was fun. I'm like, who are you? Like,
So
it's like,
much fun. And this is a person who was unhealthy till she was 47. I could not do this stuff. I mean, I was somewhat active, but my my energy, my endurance, my strength, even though I lost weight and I was like a football player before.
mm,
So I had this big, huge muscles. My muscle mass has gotten leaner, but stronger
mm,
doing this, which is just such a weird thing, and
oh,
now And now I can go forever. And I think that's partially my diet, because I'm always carb loaded. I'm always ready to go, you know.
Well, and your recovery is greater,
Oh, my
and
recovery is
your
fantastic.
inflammation's decreased. I mean, there's so many
Yep.
things. And
Yeah,
I
I would
know you,
never go back.
oh, I wouldn't either. I honestly, I could
Yeah.
never even, beyond the health aspects and how
Right.
good you feel, now understanding the animal and the world
Mhm.
impact and the global burden of
Yeah.
our dietary choices is
Yeah.
huge. But it's funny that I'm sure you probably heard me say this already. My middle one, Jonathan, he's 20, almost he'll be 25 at the end of the month. He's doing 900 pull-ups in 90 minutes. He's a
Wow.
plant-based kid, and like you're looking at these, like he's a muscly kid, but you're just like, who else does this? Like who
I know, right?
does these things anyway? But yeah, it's from pretty fascinating stuff, and it's always fun to
Yeah.
hear everyone's journey, because there's always some really cool points where things got amazingly better, and you get inspired, and you start sharing this with patients, and it's just really awesome, because it really goes back to why most of us come to doctors, right?
Yeah. Because I wanted to help people. It's funny, because moving here, I live in this neighborhood where we all meet outside and go hiking together. And there's quite a few over 70-year-olds. And so far I've converted one, two, three, four, five, six of my neighbors.
Oh my goodness, you hadn't even been there that long.
I know. And
Wow.
they've gotten off of medicines. I've gotten one off of 3 of their medicines. And this is not as a doctor, this is just as a neighbor.
Oh
And it's been
wow.
so much fun to see the changes in how they feel, because nobody would do this if they felt crappy. I wouldn't be doing
Right.
this if I felt crappy, or if I didn't love it. People
Right.
say, "Oh my God, I feel so sorry for you. You're not eating meat. You're not eating this. You're only eating like a rabbit." I'm like, one, I'm not eating like a rabbit. I eat amazing food all
Mm-hmm.
the time. A lot of it is what rabbits would eat, but that's okay. But it's delicious. It's a variety. It's and I'm a food addict. I'm a food addict. I've always been a food addict. And I used to eat crap and be huge and be
Mm.
it was funny, because the year after I went plant-based and started this whole journey, I went to Italy. And for 4 days in Italy, I was like, okay, I'm eating. I'm gonna go back to my, pasta with cheeses, and there's lots of oils and all that stuff. And the first 4 days I did it. And after 4 days, I'm like, ugh, I feel
Yeah.
terrible. I
Yeah.
gained like so much weight. I couldn't move. I'm like, no, not doing it. I'm going back. Never again. I'm going back. And then the foods out there, when I could taste, their veggies and their fruits are delicious. And
Right.
so I just would, I mean, I had amazing foods, but I got, no more cheeses, no more of the crap. And it just I was like, I felt like that all the time. I
Mm.
felt like that all the time. Like, we were talking about poop before. I used to think it was normal to poop once a week. That was normal for me. I know, right? Now
Wow.
I eat and it's out, and it's like, oh, I love it. I maybe too much information, but
No, I think it's funny because it's so very true. So many of us, going back to like, oh, I felt like that all the time.
yeah,
At least in the United States, and I'm sure many parts of the world, we've forgotten what it's like to feel normal, because many of
yeah,
us never felt normal, right?
right,
Because we're raised in these communities and these environments of food excess and these
yeah,
processed foods. So we feed our children that. Our mothers are, being pregnant and
right,
feeding their fetuses these horrible foods that are going to have an impact. And I'll never forget I had a 2-year-old come in for a well visit, and his mom had this child was eating Cheetos and was allowing them to drink out of their, like a Coke bottle. And I was like, what on earth is going on in this world that you, one, think it's okay to feed the child, but then also to think it's okay to bring your kid to the doctor's appointment for the well visit
yeah,
consuming these foods. And this is even
right,
before I went plant-based. Like, we got such a skewed view of
yeah.
what it means to feed our bodies well. So
And
how
we
do you
don't, yeah,
go ahead, go
we
ahead.
don't understand, because we would never give our children cigarettes. But this is as bad as a cigarette, you know?
Yes.
It's just as bad. And it's
Yes.
unfortunate that you got to follow the money to see why we're taught so wrong.
Hmm.
And was mad.
Mhm.
I was
No.
so mad.
Yeah,
My
I
life would have
agree.
been so different had I learned earlier. We need to teach the kids in the school, trying to teach physicians this. It's the same thing with cigarettes. We
Oh my
couldn't get
goodness.
physicians to stop smoking cigarettes for the longest time.
Right,
And so why would they tell their patients not to?
right,
Or, I know cardiologists who eat terribly. So how
right.
are they supposed to tell their patients? They know intellectually that they should be eating more plant-based, but they can't do it themselves. So they don't give that option they don't give the education to their patients.
Mhm.
And you got to give that education. You got to tell
Yeah,
them.
that really brings some a point because I see a lot of patients who will come to us on plant-based health or other times I was
Mhm.
doing plant-based medicine, and they'll say, Dr. Marvis, why would my doctor tell me this? Why
Right.
don't they tell me this? And even if they know the message, like you said, I'm like, well, let's remember something. Your doctor is still a human being with
Yeah.
their own, belief system, their own food addictions, their own health issues,
Yep.
and they have a limited toolbox. If we have our students graduating medical school and we don't provide them the most comprehensive toolbox, which
Yep.
includes detailed nutritional education,
Right.
what do we expect them to teach you? And so
Yeah.
um it's just really hard. It's really hard. So um how do you approach your patients when you have this newbie or let's say a newbie that's not even sure that they're going to get this message? How do you get someone started? So maybe we have someone listening who's like, I'm really interested, but I don't even know where to begin.
Right. So people would come into me for anything, a cold or anything like that. And I would bring it up every time, every day, because it's so important. And you have to focus it to the person. Where are you? Where do you want to be? And how do we get you there? So a couple of things I do with almost, some people want to jump in right away. Some people want to do it slowly. I really individualize it to the person. But for somebody who wants to start it slowly, I might suggest, okay, let's see what your diet is like now. What do you eat for breakfast? Well, I eat cereal. Okay, well, how about we have oatmeal, grow oats, some healthier cereals like oats with some berries on it, and just add some things like add an apple a day. Keep me away, So start adding healthier stuff.
Mhm.
I start with the idea of, look, you want to bathe your body in nutrition. So you want the
Mm.
most nutrition that you can get. And you know that, your grandparents, your parents, they told you eat your fruit and veggies. So I start with that. Let's add this in.
Mm.
And then I give a lot of people um, things to we're surrounded by negative stuff. So let's surround you with positive things. So start watching some movies like What the Health or um, Forks Over Knives or um,
Game
Game
changers.
Changers, depending on your
Mhm.
age and your interest. And if you want to start with the health, we'll start there. If you want to start with environment and those kind of issues, we'll start there. But I start where the patient is.
Mm.
But just adding in healthier things is more. Sorry about this.
No, you're
Um,
good.
Adding in the healthier will help it so
Mhm.
you don't need the other. I also tell them I am horrible, horrible, horrible with. I think that trying to use your willpower all the time is terrible. So,
Mhm.
because you can't, you're struggling. I don't want you to struggle. So get the
Mhm.
crap out of the house. Just
Mhm.
get everything, all the crap out of the house. Only have good stuff in your house, which is easier if you're alone or if you have a supportive partner or something like that. But start with getting the crap out, because if I have chocolate in the house, I eat it. It's gone. And so my significant other, my boyfriend, knows not to bring chocolate in the house unless it's
Mm.
a dark chocolate that's, healthier, and that's rare, because if it's here, it's gone.
Yep.
I mean, I'm a food addict. So
Mhm.
for the people who are addicts, I go through the addict part, because food is an addiction. And I
Mhm.
used to hate it, because when I was growing up, I was like, if it could just be like tobacco, I could just put it down, but you have to eat.
Mm.
So I'm changing my addiction from crap to good. And
Mhm.
I'm now, I try and get people to move more, like when you are hungry And you're not hungry because you're hungry. You're hungry because you're frustrated or you're upset or whatever. Go take a walk around the block. It's two things.
Mhm.
It breaks that um, that need, that urge, and you're moving, which is also healthier. And you're getting out
Mhm.
in nature, you know.
Mhm.
So those are some of the things I do, and it really depends on where they are, where the person is, um, and where they need to be. But
That's perfect. I mean, because that really just comes back to many conversations that you and I've had and others, is that this really needs to be met where that patient is, and then
yeah,
also putting out those realistic
yeah,
goals. Because I think the other thing, sometimes people come in with that, this is my magic bullet, right? This is my panacea. And
yeah,
so, to be realistic in the sense, yes, many times we can reverse disease, type 2
yes,
diabetes, hypertension, high cholesterol, all these different things. However, if you come to me and you're 65 and you've had type 2 diabetes for 30 years
yeah,
and you're so I'm sure we can make you better, but
right,
will we fully reverse your process? I don't know. But versus
right,
my 25-year-old who just got diagnosed with pre-diabetes a month ago, I'm 100% sure we can
yeah,
reverse that. You
exactly,
know, so there's these different entities. I'm like, you may still need some medication. Like, I had a gentleman who had made an appointment, and after the first consultation was disappointed that I was making recommendations like, you still may need these medications because of this. There's some pretty
hmm,
severe chronic health conditions. And it's sad to me that people don't understand the choices that they've made get them to this
right,
point in their life. And we're going to make different choices, but it's only
right,
going to carry you so far, because there were decades of decisions. So come into it with realistic, but it can make some huge changes, obviously, or we wouldn't have started a national practice with
right.
plant-based listed in the front of the name. So um, exactly. So when you have someone who, for example, let's say a diabetic or hypertensive, what are your favorite patients to work with? Who should be booking appointments with you in plant-based telehealth?
So I love dealing with people who have had weight issues because I did, and I know it. I love people who want to get off of medicines. Now, again, like you, I can't guarantee I'll get you off all your medicines,
Mhm.
but I can guarantee you I'll make you healthier and probably will get you off some and maybe even get you off all, but will certainly get you down on some.
Right.
Um, but to be honest, I'm so thankful we have medicines because,
Right.
you know, you have a broken leg. I'm not going to say, here, eat this plant only. Yes, I want you to eat the
Right.
plants to help you with your recovery and all that, but you have to have that fixed and set. So it's one of the tools in the toolbox, and it does make a difference. So
Yeah.
it makes a difference, so I like people I'm very much a generalist. So I deal with people who have multiple issues and multiple problems. If you have a specific issue I don't know about, I've got great doctors I work with that I can get to help me help you. So anybody and anywhere, I'm willing to start and try, and we'll make it happen. And if I can't help you enough, I will get you to the right person who can help you even more.
Mm.
But yeah, anything and anyone can come my way, and I can tell you, okay, I can deal with this, or if not, here's who you're going to see in plant-based telehealth, because we have some great people who can deal with different things. So
And that's a really nice thing too that I think people don't understand, is that the inner workings of plant-based telehealth. So we're building this network of physicians with a vast experience, from
yeah,
Dr. Clapper, who's been doing this as long as some of us have been living, and to others who specialize like in diabetes, like I do, which is my
hmm,
bread and butter for most of my patients. But of course, we all work with it. And then Chris is
hmm,
autoimmune. You have
yeah,
a huge experience with your own athletics and weight
yep,
loss and all these other things. So all of it's coming together too. So if there is a little tricky patient or something that we learned that
yeah,
we want to teach, we're constantly building our knowledge base and our experience and our network and our relationships with one another, which is
yeah,
really awesome. And we hope to continue to expand that out to even non-plant-based telehealth doctors, which of course we all have our network of docs who I've
yeah,
reached out to multiple times about patients, because we can't know everything. And nor do I want to know everything, as
right,
I know I want to know what I know well, and I
hmm,
can reach out to my colleagues who know other things better than
yeah,
I do. Dr. Kim, you're amazing. And I'm so happy and honored that you joined us in our plant-based telehealth. I mean, I can't tell you how tickled we are. And I just can't wait to see your panel grow and see what you do with patients. And is there any last bit of advice or tidbit of information you'd like to share with our audience?
Yes, be happy, be healthy. Come see us if you need support. We are here for you. And I can't tell you how honored I am to be a part of this group because amazing. They're amazing. So, and thank you, Lori. You're amazing, Dr. Marvis.
Thank you, Dr. Sheuer. I am saying your name correctly. Oh
I know, and I tried to say yours correctly just then.
It's like Marbas. But yeah, no, it's been really fun, and there's so much work to do. But it's so much hard work, but it's so rewarding because I always go back to the patient and say, listen, I'm going to end with my veggie crack statement because this is my veggie crack. I was like, I tell you to eat vegetables, you get better, I get a dopamine hit, and we continue this process. You eat more vegetables, you get better, I get my dopamine fix, my veggie crack, we're good.
That's what I say. I say it's all about me. You getting healthier makes me happy. It's all about me.
Exactly. And I'm
Perfect.
like, and not only that, I was like, I need to sleep at night. So please get better so I can go to bed feeling well and sleep well.
Perfect.
Exactly. So we're selfish. It's all good. So,
there we go.
Oh my gosh.
Stay happy, stay healthy, everyone. And thank you so much, Dr. Marvis. It's wonderful.
Well, thank you, Dr. Sheuer. And again, we're just honored to work with the people we do and take care of some amazing people. Yeah. And please share the word, people. Share this podcast. She's finding if you can't listening. But please rate us, get the podcast, give us a 5-star, leave a rating. That really helps us. But share this with someone that you feel like might be really beneficial to come and see Dr. Kim on Plant-Based Health. And we're super psyched to see her practice go. So, all right, everyone. Thanks for listening.
Have a great day.
Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed that video. Before you go though, please hit the subscribe button and the alert button so you will be notified whenever we upload any new videos. On Monday, we upload the Healthy Human Revolution podcast. Now, if you'd rather listen to the podcast, you can find it on all the major platforms such as iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, and even Spotify. On Tuesdays, we upload the Doctor's In. This is where I answer your questions. Thinking of that, could you please comment below any questions you might have about health or wellness or any topics that you would like me to cover. Now, if you're looking for more resources on how to start a plant-based diet, sustain a plant-based diet, exercise, recipes, anything regarding wellness, we've got you covered. Check out healthyhumanrevolution.com. And again, thanks for watching.